In this problem, you need to evaluate similar figures. You're creating a model bookcase for an art project. The actual bookcase is 48 inches tall and 32 inches wide. If you plan to make the model 3 inches tall, how wide do you have to make the model if you want the rectangular shapes of the bookcase to be similar figures? So we have a proportion here. We have to look at the corresponding sides. Now there's two ways you can actually solve these kind of proportions. I'm going to show you the way that your book teaches you first, and then I'm going to actually show you an alternative way of doing the problem. So the way your textbook teaches you is to, of course, look at the corresponding sides, which in this case is 48 and 3. And we can see that when we shrink it down, that side looks the same. Now the next side is 32 inches, which is the bottom, and that's going to correspond with the X. So now we have something we can easily set up. Well, in the first proportion, we have the big size. So sometimes I just like to say, okay, I'm going to make sure this side is on top and this side is on bottom when I set up my proportions. That way I don't flip the expressions. So we have 48 on top, and it corresponds with 3. So 3 on the bottom. Then we have 32 on top, or our numerator, and X on the bottom because it corresponds. Now we have a good old-fashioned problem we can use cross multiplication with. So using cross products, we can multiply 48 times X, which is 48X, and 3 times 32, which is 3 times 30 is 90, 3 times 2 is 6, so that's 96. Then we can isolate the X by dividing by 48. The opposite of multiplication is division. And when we divide 96 by 48, we get 2. So we have X equals 2 inches. So that's the first way we can solve the expression. And for some students, this way works very well. There's actually an alternative way you can set up these proportions, and for some students it's easier, and I will show you that method. So looking at the figures, you still need to know what needs to be on the top and what needs to be on the bottom. This is our X. So the way we can set it up is to make sure that this first expression is its own fraction and the second is its own. You still do need to know the corresponding sides because you need to know what needs to go as the numerators. So we have, for example, 48 over 32 equals, and it can't be X over 3. Remember, you have to set up the proportions in the same order. So we have 48 over 32, and that gives us 3 over X. Again, 3 and 48 correspond, so we line them up. Now you have basically the same problem. It's just in a different order. Using cross products, 48 times X is 48X, and 32 times 3, we remember, is 96. And we remember our method is to, again, isolate the X by dividing both sides by 48. And again, we get the same answers. X equals 2 inches. So for some students, this works better. For some students, the first method works better. So it's up to you to decide which one works well for you.